Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner, unmute yourself.
You should know after 3 years on this. Welcome everybody to Community Focus. Great to have you with us this Thursday morning as we get close to Thanksgiving. I'm at the commission today. We've got our admin hearings today for a little while, and we've got some great guests today. Let me just first welcome our guests. We start with Cindy. She'll be last today. Cindy Burt with Unbridled Joy. Welcome to Community Focus, Cindy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Looking forward to finding out about your equine ministry. And Montana Bush. Montana does a lot of solar arrays around the state, but he's got some very close to Bethlehem, and we're going to talk about kind of the state of solar and look at some of the projects he's done. Welcome, Montana.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
And Mike Griffin. Mike, we've had you on a number of times before. You're going to talk about our Unholy Tour, the recent Unholy Tour we just did. We always have a human trafficking spotlight on this. So welcome back
Yes.
to Community Focus. Mike, Faith had organized another Unholy Tour for a lot of your folks at the Georgia Baptist Convention. Folks maybe moving into our state, they're not aware just how prolific Georgia Baptists are throughout our state. Almost every town has a Baptist church, and y'all are headquartered up there off of Sugarloaf, and we always start our tour up there as we do this with GBC. Let me ask you, why is GBC interested in combating human trafficking?
Well, we started a new program called Mission Georgia. And in Mission Georgia, we're looking at 5 major emphases here in our state. It has to do with foster care and adoption, childhood literacy, pre and postnatal care, human trafficking, and helping with refugees and internationals. And, Georgia Baptists want to be known more about what we're for than what we're against. And I've worked at the Capitol for 15 years as a lobbyist, pastored 35 years here in the state, and worked for Georgia Right to Life, now Georgia Baptist. And so I'm dealing with a lot of social and moral issues. But Georgia Baptists also want to know, as I have testified before hearings in the House and the Senate, that we're not just against something, we're for some things. We want you to know we're not just for good policy, but we want to be a part of sharing the gospel and living out our life to minister to people. And human trafficking is one of those areas that we have targeted.
Yeah, Faith, we've done Unholy Tours now. I guess we're in our 7th year. Mm-hmm. And there's the traffickers didn't take a break during the pandemic. I mean, we're still seeing an enormous number of arrests being made and girls being rescued. Governor Kemp and Marty Kemp in his first term, they built that facility up there in I guess Paulding County. We needed a residential facility, and so that got done. But Mike, we're having difficulty keeping up with this. I don't think we have enough resources dedicated to.
Well, Georgia Baptists, represent about 1.3 million Georgians, over 3,400 churches. And so we're everywhere. We're out there. And I think what you started years ago with the Unholy Tours, I went on probably the first, I think I've been on every one you had at the state capitol. Then I got to thinking, wow, let's do this for Georgia Baptists. And I was looking through my notes here yesterday. And so we have done 4 of these tours with y'all. We started in 2017, and then, of course, the pandemic kind of shut it down in 20. But we did get back this year to doing it again in 22. So a couple of years we didn't get to do it with you. And one of the things I liked about it, and everybody, when they come off that bus, when they've been with you and with Casey McClure and others, when we've done these, their eyes are open. And so I think there are 3 things I think they're very important on why you do these and why we need to keep doing them. Number one is education. And I've said that for years. Education on social moral issues is what location is to real estate. Education, education, education. So many people are not aware how close human trafficking is. It's everywhere. And then secondly, prevention. That means, we've got to do what we can. I think one of the best ways to be victim centric is not to have victims. So we need to be aware of how our young people are getting caught up in this. And then third is restoration. And that is being victim centric means we need to know what we can do to rescue these individuals and help them. Listen, I was speaking down near Claxton, Georgia a couple of months ago. And after I finished speaking on Mission Georgia, which included human trafficking, at the end of the invitation, people stood up and started asking me questions. The pastor allowed them. And they told me an incident of human trafficking taking place right there in Claxton, Georgia. Little South Georgia community has human trafficking in it, and how the man that was in charge of this woman that was taking her around all the churches getting money and food. Eventually, the churches began to figure out what was going on here. This just wasn't somebody that was homeless or something. And she did get rescued and was put in a facility to help. But I'm just saying, people in Georgia don't need to think that this is not happening probably in their community. It probably is.
So, Mike, who are the people that come on the tour when we do a private tour for the Georgia Baptist Mission Board? Who are we filling the bus with?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Our top priority is to get pastors on, because I really do. Pastors, I believe they are the change agents in our because they represent more than themselves. They represent congregations. So we try to get pastors. We try to get different ministers that are there. And then we just try to get leaders in churches to come. And then we just kind of open it up to anybody that wants to be there, just to grab that information. I do try to reach out to various activists and organizational leaders to encourage them to be there as well, so that they might know what is going on. So, but we end up with around 50, 55 people on all these tours. And so it's just, again, nobody goes on one of these tours that's not changed when they get off that bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to John and Tom Sandeman over at Samson Tours, Mike. I remember the first time we did a lunch and learn on human trafficking, it was at Atlantic Station. And I guess it was Tom that was in the audience. And he came up to me afterwards. I kind of shared my vision about doing this on a bus, because we were just doing it in an office park at that time. And he came up and said, I will donate the bus every time you want to do this. And he's been faithful to that, Mike, for these 7 years, to provide a free bus for us to be able to take people out. So I know that, Faith, we've got a whole, crop of legislators coming in, to the session. And Mike, you're up here a lot. And, in February, we're going to want to do another one for our legislators, so that they can see what's going on. A lot of these guys come in from Middle and South Georgia. Maybe they aren't aware of what's going on here in the city in particular.
Well, you remind me of William Wilberforce, who had to take those people out there where those slave ships were coming in there in England, so they could see, hear, and smell what was going on. And so when you do that with our tour and we're traveling around, people's eyeballs are open to this thing. And it's kind of like the Emmett Till situation dealing with civil rights issues. His mother wanted that casket to be left open because she said until people see civil rights abuse, they're not going to do anything about it. So again, whether it's civil rights, whether it's abortion, whether it's human trafficking, people need to see and be aware of what is going on, because you can't do anything about something you don't know anything about. So I think again, education, and I do this in my work and traveling the state, speaking in churches and different meetings. I think it begins with inspiration, which leads to motivation. And once you have motivation, there's going to be activation. And so many times we try to start with activation first and work our way back. But no, when you're inspired, you're motivated. And that's the two things that happen on these tours. You're inspired, you're motivated, and when you walk off the bus, you're standing there saying, now what can I do? And that's important.
Well, Mike, thanks for all you do. God bless you, and we'll look forward to seeing you down at the Capitol.
Absolutely. Look forward to helping you anytime.
Yeah,
Thanks,
so
Mike.
much. We want to welcome into our studio Montana Bush. Montana, we're talking about the little town of Bethlehem today, and I go through Bethlehem, every week, multiple times, because it's en route to Athens from my house in Houston, and so we are. Bethlehem is just off of Highway 316 as you're heading from Lawrenceville on to Athens. And I was so enamored with the town of Bethlehem that when I was in college in 1980, I loved the idea of a little town of Bethlehem. And I went and got a P.O. box there. I had like P.O. Box 118 Bethlehem. And I didn't get much mail there, but I put it on a little business card, and I would mail my Christmas cards from there because they had a Bethlehem postmark. So, so I've been tuned into Bethlehem for a long time. It is now a town that, they've got, a massive development right there on 316 with the Target and the Publix and a Longhorn. It is kind of, I guess, for Barrow County, it is the place everybody goes. So Montana, you go to Bethlehem often?
I do pass through there pretty often on my way to Athens from Lilburn, and it's definitely it seems like it's getting a lot of development attention right now with 316, and they're trying to take care of some of the traffic lights on that highway, and so definitely a good place to stop through and have lunch.
Yeah, that 316 has been the highway of death, literally, because you 65-mile-an-hour speed limit, and people run those red lights. So they've been just gradually putting bridges all the way out, making it more like an expressway. They're almost done, so we're saving a lot of lives. Well, Montana, pull us up some slides here. I think we're going to take a look at some of the projects that you've done. We're talking about solar and renewable energy today. We always talk about clean energy on Community Focus. So show us a little bit about some of these projects that you've done.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Are we showing a double screen right now, it looks like?
Yeah, you got a double screen up.
Let me try again.
Okay. We had it right earlier.
Always works perfect.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
So, my company is based in Athens, and we do work all over Georgia. And this is a system for a government building near Bethlehem. So it's got a metal roof, as you can see, and these are your solar panels out here. And these pictures are not in any sort of order, but I'll just briefly chat about each one. If you have questions, I guess, just fire away. This funny looking suit here is called a flash suit. He's working on an energized gear. It being a government building, they did not allow us to shut power off. So this type of suit would protect him in case there were an accident that caused an electrical arc. But you see he's got an insulated tool and insulated gloves. So it's very critical to be extra careful with this kind of work. This is the breaker, and these wires coming on the right side of it are actually the solar power coming from the roof. It comes into this breaker, and then these copper bars in the back are called bus bars, and those connect to the rest of the electrical components in the building and distributes power to all the other breakers that way. So this is a behind the meter system, meaning the solar panels are connected to the building itself rather than selling power directly to the power company.
So Montana, behind the meter is for our audience maybe that not familiar with it. That means that it's going to actually cut the amount of power they need to buy from the utility. Is that right?
Precisely. It will offset their power bill by producing their needs on site, using their own roof, their own resources. And if someone was interested in that, we would compare their power bill and look at the rate plan that they're on and develop a whole financial analysis showing, how long it would take to pay for itself and how many trees it'd be equivalent to planting and things like that. So this, since it's a metal roof, we're able to use non-penetrating attachments. So these little clamps here just clamp onto the metal seam on the roof, and then you have a module clamp on top of that. And this is the frame of the solar panel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And well, that's pretty sturdy. Will that withstand 20-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour winds? What's the rating on that?
It's actually rated for 110-mile-per-hour winds.
Wow.
And from what we've seen with solar systems that are exposed to like hurricane force winds is because you have rails that span perpendicular to the rafters on the roof, it actually braces the roof. And so homes with solar can actually withstand a higher wind speed than homes without.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a real exciting industry to be in. A lot of things are changing, but
your installers. Are the installers electricians, or what skill do you have to work in the solar industry like this?
So there's a few different career pathways within the industry. I mean, yes, there's definitely electricians involved, all this conduit and wire. There's engineers involved. There's warehousing and procurement people. There's the whole office side of things. We have one person dedicated just to completing the applications with the power company. So yeah, there's a variety of different career pathways. So I mean that's pretty much it. You can see these conduits collecting the power from the different solar panels, and all coming together, going down into that electrical room and into the building.
I heard the new Inflation Reduction Act, quote unquote, is going to allow nonprofits and those that don't pay taxes to be able to monetize that tax. Can you explain how that's going to work and when that will start?
Yeah, that's one of the really exciting things in the IRA bill. Nonprofits, non-taxable entities, including schools and government entities, can now claim the 30% tax rebate for installing solar. So it's basically a 30% off coupon, and it will go into effect on January 1st. And this bill it also extended the tax credit for homes and businesses. So this whole 30% tax credit will be in effect for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Montana, thanks. How can folks find out about your company and get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, I see y'all have our website down on the banner at the bottom, altenergyse.com. Just visit us there, and we'll be happy to give you a free consultation.
Thanks,
That's
Montana.
Great. Well, thanks, Montana. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hey, Cindy, we want to welcome you into Community Focus today. I know Faith has some questions for you, but equine therapy, is something that's gaining in popularity. I hear more and more about it. I see more and more farms that are utilizing it. Faith, you've been involved with equine therapy for some time, haven't you?
Yeah, off and on. The program that I work for part-time actually does recreational riding, which is slightly different. It is therapeutic, but what Cindy does at Unbridled Joy is actually equine therapy. It's equine facilitated psychotherapy, and she's going to tell us some about the certifications that are required for that, and the folks that they are planning on serving. And I'm going to screen share here some photos of their equine partners while we talk about this.
Yeah, they're actually my real therapists, the four-legged therapist. So I just get the if we do have a therapist there, we call it equine assisted psychotherapy. Without, we can still do sessions. We just call it equine assisted learning if we're not working with the counselor, for certain goals. But the big guy there with one of our veterans is Manny. He's a Percheron, about 11 years old. And then my friend Dennis with the paint horse there. He's a great advocate. He's helped us out a lot. We've gone to the Rotary Club, like in Winder. And he's a Vietnam vet. He got Agent Orange, unfortunately, and lost the use of his legs a few years ago. And he's the most vivacious. He can still get on a horse and ride. And he goes kayaking. He's just so, he just puts a lot of life, really encourages you to live your life to the fullest. So, and then the two big-eared girls, that's Cookie and Peaches. And that's my old horse Buddy there is being led with the little one there. He's passed, but he was my senior advocate there. So the certifications that you get, really, horses are like relationship experts. So, because they're herd animals, they depend on their relationship to survive in the wild. So they seem to have almost just this empathy and like a nonverbal communication with people. Especially, we've tried to use rescue horses, in our program. So they have, if they have a history of any kind of trauma, they have a hypervigilance that seems to have this nonverbal connection with anyone that suffered like PTSD, or maybe someone with autism, or, they have trouble communicating. Normally you can just kind of put them with the horse, and you can have a certain goal, but you see kind of a therapeutic moment and let the magic happen. And there's two certification, which is PATH, the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship, and EGALA. Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association, which are two different concepts. So I've gone through those certifications. But really, the horses do all the magic, I guess. Faith can tell you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this picture right here in the middle on this slide is just so powerful to me. Seeing the wheelchair there beside the horse, and the freedom that somebody has on horseback that they might not have under their own power. That's an incredible photo to me, showing kind of what is offered in these programs.
Yeah, that was a really good day. He actually hadn't been on a horse in like 30 years. And he came with Dennis. He's one of Dennis's friends, a veteran. His name is Keith. And it's really, there's so much freedom, if they're in a chair and they haven't had the ability to walk. The motion of a horse is really similar to the way we walk. A lot of my volunteer work was with a speech pathologist, and there's just something with the horse and that movement opens people up as well, but that was a good trail ride day. Dennis and Keith there. And that's Sean paint there.
So your program is, your facility is going to be in between Monroe and Bethlehem, right?
Yeah, we're in Bold Springs now. We did have a facility in Bethlehem with some acreage, and we ended up having to move, due to COVID. There was a financial issue. So right now we're just kind of getting my facility up to past standards to open in the spring to offer sessions again. So we're just right on the line, actually. Bold Springs.
Gotcha. Okay. So obviously you work with a lot of disabled veterans. What are the other services that you all provide or will provide in the spring?
We work with Boys and Girls Club. Anyone that's dealt with trauma. We've worked with like Twin Lakes people in recovery That seems to help a lot. We've tried not to turn anyone away. We just try to fundraise for the care of the horses. And then, we could do a scale if people can afford a session, but, we don't like to say no if people have a need, for that with the horses. So the minis are mobile, so we could take them into like the VA, or we've taken them to recovery centers over holidays, and they seem to light up people.
Yeah, we
big personalities. Chihuahua of the whole world, I guess. So
we take our minis sometimes to nursing homes or to schools, and they just again, there's something so therapeutic about even just the smell of a horse. Commissioner Eccles was blessed with 3 very horsey daughters. He has 1 daughter that's not so horsey, but 3 of his daughters are very horsey. But Commissioner Eccles was traumatized by a horse.
Oh no.
Well, no, I mean, I grew up with getting my first horse when I was 6 after I had some surgery, and my granddad brought me a little Shetland pony.
That was the problem. Shetland ponies are.
This Shetland pony's name was Baby, and she was anything other than baby. But she had this bad habit of, when I was trying to saddle her, turning around and biting my back. And I mean, horse teeth are lethal.
We call that girthy when horses do that. That's called girthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then my next horse was Tonto, and Tonto was beloved by my entire family, because after I moved on to a quarter horse, this was a Welch pony, and Tonto was, and after I moved on to a quarter horse, my brothers got Tonto, and he was just, I mean, you could ride him frontwards, backwards, you could stand up on him. I mean, you could do anything on Tonto, and he passed away at the family farm. But he had many children that rode on him, guests that we would bring down, and but it was that early experience with Baby and getting my back bitten that scarred me for life. Literally.
Literally scarred you.
Yeah. Well, look, I've got to run downstairs because my real job starts in 4 minutes. So, I want to thank everyone for being on today. We're going to bring Mike back in to the stream and say bye to Mike. Cindy, Mike, thank you. God bless you this Thanksgiving. Really appreciate you guys being on Community Focus today.
I just want to mention real quick, we have Cindy's information scrolling at the bottom. They are fundraising right now to help offset the cost of getting set up for the spring. So that email address is her PayPal. You can send funds via PayPal, or you can go over to the website, and there's a donate button on the website.
Yes.
All right. Count on me making a donation. We'll do that as soon as I finish with my real job. So, everybody, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.